Well, good day, brothers and sisters at St. George's Church. I bring you greetings in the midst of extraordinary times, to be sure. I'm at home, sitting at my desk where I spend a lot of my time in the mornings, and I've certainly been spending more time here over recent days than I have cared to. I know that you're aware, a group of us returned from the Holy Land late last week, and following all appropriate guidelines, we are self-distancing from our various communities, including the church, for a number of days. But I wanted to communicate with you today and mention at least three things that are important to us as a parish family in the midst of these times. And the first is a request. I'd like to ask you, please, to take pastoral responsibility in communicating with the church around anyone that you may know who is ill or who needs some pastoral attention. Your clergy are simply not able to make the kinds of in-person pastoral calls and hospital calls that we have typically done in the past. So it's up to all of us to be communicating well with each other. And I thank you again for taking responsibility and letting us know if there's something that you know that needs the church's attention. Secondly, we're going to be exploring a variety of ways to stay in touch with each other, such as this video here that's being sent out to you over the coming days. And we look forward to trying to, despite our dispersal from one another, our inability to gather in public as we are so accustomed to doing, nevertheless to staying connected with one another. Thirdly, I want to say just something very quickly about our worship life. We will have an announcement later this week concerning Sunday services for Lent 4. It looks like we will not have public worship, and in fact we'll be live streaming our services. So again, please pay attention to further information from the church about what that's going to look like. However, we're going to begin offering on this Thursday a live streaming 10-minute service of noonday prayer. And we hope that the church will pause at noon each day for the coming days, weeks, however long it may be, simply to join with the community in prayer and in some biblical reflection. And we look forward to that opportunity with you as well. Again, we'll have other opportunities to communicate in ways that may seem a little atypical for us as a church. I've been doing some reading in recent days about how Christians have responded to pandemics in the past, especially in the life of the early church. For example, in the year 165, there was a massive epidemic of smallpox that swept through the Roman Empire, killing the emperor himself, Marcus Aurelius. And my reading of that event was that the church actually came out of the pandemic stronger in the eyes of society than it had gone in, because of the way Christians bonded together and cared for one another, unlike many of the pagans who dispersed, fled from cities in the midst of the threat of the disease. So my hope is that all of us will be asking the question, in spite of our following appropriate procedures to distance ourselves from others for fear of spreading this virus, we would nevertheless ask, what might it look like for St. George's not only to respond faithfully as a health concern, but how might we use this opportunity to come together more strongly as the body of Christ? In other words, what would it look like for St. George's on the end of this to look back and say, we were at our very best, thanks be to God. I want to end this little communication with, again, some lines from 1 Peter that I shared in a correspondence with you late last week. In this you rejoice, even if now for a little while you have to suffer various trials, so that the genuineness of your faith, being more precious than gold, that though perishable is tested by fire, may be found to result in praise and glory and honor when Jesus Christ is revealed. Although you have not seen him, you love him, and even though you do not see him now, you believe in him, and rejoice with an indescribable and glorious joy. Thank you for taking time to listen to this. Again, we look forward to staying in further communication with you, and be deeply assured that all of you are in my prayers.